Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you beat down that like button. Make sure you share. If you wish to hit up the platform, my Cash App is $JRoos33. Now let's get into this. As AJ said, it is what it is. Dana White finally speaks about the Francis Ngannou-Anthony Joshua fight. The interviewer asked him, how did you feel about the fight? He's like, what do you mean how I feel? He said, you know how I feel about crossover fights, and that's what happens. You know, he had a little smirk on his face, you know. Of course, Francis Ngannou and Francis Ngannou and Dana White have this little beef, and it's not Francis Ngannou's fault. You know, he just wanted to be paid adequately. He wanted to be paid for his work. There's no way the guy that's not in the octagon should be making more than the fighters in the octagon. That doesn't make any sense. I don't care what angle you look at it. It doesn't make any sense for Dana White to be making that much money. They even asked Dana White about, you know, the big events, how they put them on in Saudi Arabia with the pyrotechnics and all that. And he said, yeah, they put a lot of money into those productions. Those are events. But when we go over there, we're going to be running our own event. So I guess Dana White is pretty much saying, you know, I'm not coming out of my pocket for any elaborate display. No way. I don't know. The thing I like about Dana White is he puts the best fighters when he can, if there's no injuries or anything. He puts the best fighters in the UFC against each other. That's what I like about Dana White. He's not going to give you a bunch of shows where you're like, why are these two fighting? Maybe occasionally, but it's not something that's regular. What I don't like about Dana White is he's really outspoken and says a lot of inappropriate things, and he seems to have a beef with the man that just wants to be paid or wanted to be paid when he was with his organization. How are you going to be mad at him for wanting to get paid and you're getting the most money out of anybody? They're saying Francis Ngannou made $20 million for his fight with Anthony Joshua. Francis Ngannou could have fought from now to 2030 in the UFC, and I'm almost sure he wouldn't have made $20 million over with Mr. Dana White in the UFC. So, Dana White should put aside his little beef with Francis Ngannou because, like I said, it makes no sense to be mad at the guy for just trying to get paid what he's due. Conor McGregor was making more money than him. I heard somewhere that Francis Ngannou made $100,000 or would have made $100,000. I forget who he's supposed to fight, like $100,000 for combat sports. Like, what's the reasoning behind Dana White getting the bulk of the money? I'd like to hear what he has to say about that. It'd probably change the subject, you know. Maybe the UFC stands for your finances. Let's see, what can the UFC stand for? Help me, well, let's see. Your finances are corrupt. I guess that'd be UFAC. Anyway, you guys help me out with that one. But Dana White said, you know, this is what happens in crossover fights. I didn't really get his point about, he said something about Fury and if somebody ate Fury. I listened to it several times. I didn't, you know, if that was a joke, it was over my head, or should I say under my feet, because I didn't get that one, Dana. How do you guys feel about Dana White making the bulk load of money while his fighters in his organization, some of them are struggling? I've heard stories of fighters living in gyms and stuff because they can't pay their rent. What's up with that, man? That's insane, you know. You got to have an outside job and fight it in UFC. You know, you got to work at Walmart and then go fight at night. Like, come on, Dana. When people talk about Don King, they say he robbed them, this and that. If Don King robbed them, they still got way more money than the UFC fighters are getting. And I think, wasn't that what John Jones was having a problem with, was the pay? That's a very tough sport. So you just want to be paid what you deserve. You see the NFL players get paid, all those collisions, they're paid for what they do. Why not the UFC, Dana? Why not? Anyway, this has been the J. Roos Theory, talking to Dana White. Holla at me, Dana. LSR forever. And be fearless. Yeah, yeah.